Hey gang, welcome back to Trendy and C. We've got a fun episode for you today.
Yeah, I think this is a good one.
Yeah, we're going to be looking at, well, before I get into that,
yeah.
the whole purpose for this episode is because we've done several best beginner this, best beginner that
Scotch
episodes.
or bourbon or Irish or whatever, yeah.
Canadian. And we always still get people asking us, what should I try? I'm a beginner. I'm new at this. What should I try? Which is great. It's great to be a beginner. It's such an interesting time in your life.
It really is.
Really learn about yourself.
But the other thing with that is you're always, there's no such thing as a whiskey expert.
Especially you.
But the point is you're always kind of on this whiskey journey and you're always learning, and there's just so much whiskey out there to try. But what we're going to do here is kind of our recommended best beginner whiskeys.
But not even our recommendation.
Yeah, this is right. That's right.
So these recommendations come from the comments on our previous videos. So these are actually viewer recommendations. So when we did our bourbon episode, we named, what was it, 5 or 8 bourbons, and then people came back 5 or
yeah, okay.
Anyway, so when we recommended those bourbons, other people came back and were like, "Hey,
you missed this, you missed that," and we're always gonna miss something when we're only doing 8.
So we took the
5
ones,
or 8.
Yeah. So we took the ones that we heard most often from people, like, "Where's the this? Where's the that?" Over and over and over again. Well, here it is tonight then.
Yeah. Okay.
And we wouldn't include anything that we totally disagreed with.
For sure. For sure. So stick around.
Trendy and C, drinking whiskey, describing all the flavors for you and me. Irish, Scotch, bourbon, and rye. If they like a bottle, they'll tell you why.
Okay, here we are.
All right.
So we're here to talk about best beginner whiskey. Oh, look out for these coasters here. Boop.
Those are pretty cool coasters, gotta say.
Okay. Where do you want to start?
I don't know, but we gotta drink a whiskey while we're doing this.
Let's pour something.
So,
well, then let's start where that one comes from. We're going to start in the bourbon world.
Yes.
So best beginner bourbon here. We're going to have 2 choices for bourbon. And this is one that we heard a lot about. Since you're a beginner, you may not be familiar with it. This is Evan Williams Single Barrel. Can you see that? Is it? There, now it's getting clear. 43.3% alcohol. This one is the 2006. But they vary in quality by the year, but Evan Williams makes a very solid product. So you can't really go wrong with it. It's a nice percentage. Not too high, but a little over the standard 40. I'm just going to pour some little ones. We're almost out of this.
Okay, so yeah, Evan Williams is right at the top of our list.
Yeah, that's delicious. I just tried. We're not going to try every single one of these. We're just going to talk about them a little bit.
That is actually really
This
nice.
one actually is really good. We haven't visited this bottle in a long time.
Which is funny because it's almost gone.
Yeah. We had to put the pause button on.
So, yeah, this is one that our viewers said, "Hey guys, how could you miss Evan Williams Single Barrel?"
We did have the Evan Williams bottled in bond in there, but they said, "Hey, it's got to be the single barrel."
Yeah, and they're probably right. Around here, this costs a little bit more money for us than it would in some of the United States. Yeah. So if you're in a state that has cheaper versions, or this for relatively cheap, then yeah, absolutely get it.
You can't go wrong with most things Evan Williams.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get right back into bourbon. This is one, people got feisty about this one.
Yeah.
People got defensive and pissed off that we didn't include this in our best beginner bourbon.
We got a strongly worded letter from Matthew McConaughey about it.
So you probably guessed it. It's Wild Turkey 81. Now, I think we've talked disrespectfully about Wild Turkey, and that's perhaps why... I gotta block you out so it'll zoom in. That's perhaps why we got such a strongly worded letter. And we've talked disrespectfully because if you look at the cork that we have here on this one, it's just a chunk of cork because this is a cork from something else because we used the Wild Turkey cork for something better that we needed at the time. So you know, yeah, we've been a little harsh to Wild Turkey, and we don't really care about it too much.
Yeah.
But because it's okay.
Yeah, it's fine.
But
It's fine.
the viewers are passionate about it.
Yeah, and they're not wrong. It is a good whiskey, and there's different versions of it. Like, this is the regular 81. You can get the 101, which is the percentage, so 50.5% alcohol. And that one's quite nice. The difference between these two is the Wild Turkey has a higher rye content in their whiskey, and so for some people, that rye spice is maybe a bit of a put off, but it is actually quite nice, and they do it well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
okay, let's move on.
So from bourbon, Wild Turkey 81, and the Evan Williams single barrel. There they are. Okay.
Okay, moving on.
Let's move on to Canadian whiskey.
Yeah, so we're gonna head north.
Same continent, head
Same
north.
thing. It's a whiskey. It is made from. They say rye a lot of the time, even though there is a high corn content in it. But usually Canadian whiskey, they just say it's a rye.
Yeah, but it can really be made from anything. Canadian whiskey is sometimes barley, it's sometimes rye, it's sometimes corn.
A lot of the time corn,
Yeah.
and sometimes 100% corn.
You never know. So we did a video, and it's the best beginner whiskeys, Canadian whiskeys. And one that we left out, we capped our limit in that video at $50.
Yeah.
And this bottle was like $51.
Mm-hmm.
So we got technical and excluded it.
Yeah.
And people were...
They weren't happy with us.
They were not happy. They said, where is the J.P. Weiser's legacy? Here it is.
And I'm going to say straight off the bat, they are definitely right. For that extra couple of bucks, it is well worth to have in your collection. Especially if you're, even if you're a new whiskey drinker. You can be a new whiskey drinker, but if you're especially a new Canadian whiskey drinker, this is huge bang for your buck.
It's 45% alcohol. It's about
Awesome.
$50 in Canada.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can get it in the States or not. But 45%, it's just a real nice, mild, easy drinking. It has the signature J.P. Weiser's flavor.
Yeah.
You got to try it to know what that is, but it's just pleasant. It's just lovely stuff.
It is, and you know what? For some of the ones that are have age statements, like the 18-year-old, oh, it sounds so, ritzy and good because it's got an age statement. But you go back between the two of them, and I bet you'll find that you like this one better. Anyway, so that's our first Canadian.
Yeah.
Our second Canadian whiskey, we were talking about what things can be made of in Canada, especially a high corn content or rye. This one is our Canadian Club 100% rye. We cannot talk about this one enough. This is, you may not get it where you're from, and I hope you can, because it's well worth the. I mean, this is only $22.
Yeah, it's cheap
Yes,
stuff.
yeah.
Cheap stuff, and it's delicious. It has a fruitiness, a tropicalness to it.
Yeah.
It's sweet. It's just
The
really
rye
great stuff.
spice isn't overwhelming or overpowering.
No,
It's
no.
not just burn your face off spice. It is 40% alcohol, so it is lower content, but it is a really, really good Canadian. These are two really good examples of Canadian whiskey in general, but if you're a beginner, these shouldn't put you off of Canadians.
There they are. Get them. Okay.
Cool, moving on.
Move along. Okay, let's go to Ireland.
Yeah, let's go. Yeah. That sounds good.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Was that your Irish voice?
I'm not good with accents. Okay, so Ireland is similar. I don't want to say similar to Canada, but they have lighter style whiskeys and spirits for the most part. And this one is the Bushmills Black Bush. So there's a whole different line of Bushmills out there. But this one's the one that's been aged in a sherry cask. And it's never really done us wrong.
Oh, no, it's very lovely. Very pleasant. Goes down easy. 40%. It has that nice sherryness to it. It's just a little bit more rich. There's a little bit more going on.
Yeah.
It's really nice stuff. It's pretty cheap too. I think it's about $30 here. So
yeah.
Very, very reasonable.
And a good example of what Ireland can do with using malted barley and unmalted barley, and then other grains in their spirits. But they are the same, where they have to age it for 3 years before it can be legally considered whiskey.
There you go. Okay, let's move on to the next Irish one.
Where are we? Oh, we can't even... We talk about this one a lot.
Enough.
This is the Redbreast 12-year-old.
It's a fan favorite.
It's a fan favorite.
Yeah.
I think we have mentioned it in the past, and most people are like, "Oh, we haven't tried it yet," or whatever, or get the 12-year-old that's the cask strength version. But as a beginner, you're not going to open that and be disappointed.
If you haven't tried it, you must try it. In some places, it comes out kind of in a batch, like where it's not available all year round. So you gotta jump on it when you see it. There it is. Good stuff. Redbreast 12, single pot still. Beauty. It is only 40%, but it is super delicious. It's one of the, when we tried it for the first time last year, blew our minds.
Yeah.
Blew our minds.
Okay, so I think we got to move on to
Scotch.
the world of Scotch, and that is a big world.
We've made you wait.
So I think our number one comment from people is, how could you have forgot Old Pulteney 12-year-old?
Yes, this was the one.
And they are right.
Yeah.
It is an outstanding whiskey for beginners, or for just you don't have to be a beginner to like this one. It's got an age statement. It is only 40% alcohol, but it does everything right. It has very distinct characteristics.
Yeah, it's got an interesting flavor profile. It's malty and briny and a little bit salty, and it's multi-dimensional. It's not just a boring Scotch. It is very interesting, and like you said, Trini, not only the new people, but also the connoisseur who... Come on, zoom, you piece of... It's stuck looking at your face. Anyway,
I understand why.
anyone can appreciate this one. Oh, and something that was pointed out, look at this. That's pretty cool. On the bottom there, it's got the compass, got the...
yeah.
Whoop. Anyway.
So Old Pulteney's just good in general, but they are one of these whiskeys, Scotches, that the older they get in age, the more expensive they get as well.
Oh, it's
They're
super
worth
good.
it. However, that's a good place to start. Okay, moving on up.
We're almost out of time
Here we are. We're at the Belvenny Doublewood. The Belvenny Distillery, 12-year-old Doublewood. The distillery is just a beautiful place to visit if you ever get a chance. Fantastic whiskey, and I think if you want to know what Scotch tastes like and you've never tasted Scotch, this is the most Scotchy tasting Scotch you can ever drink.
It looks like Scotch, it smells like Scotch, it tastes like Scotch. It's the definition of
Give
Scotch.
me some of that Scotch.
Give me some of that Scotch.
Yeah. It's got
And
a
it has
very
a
cool
great
bottle.
cork sound.
Yeah, cool bottle. They do everything in a kind of a craft way. These guys share the same property with Glenfiddich, which I'm sure you guys have heard of that. So if you've tried your Glenfiddichs and Glenlivets and stuff like that, move on up to something like this. They put out a bunch of great products.
But the people wanted it
Yeah,
here.
the people wanted it.
The people, you people,
Oh,
you
yeah,
told
that's
us to do this, so here it is. So anyway, hopefully you've enjoyed this episode of Trini and C for the best beginner whiskeys. We've covered bourbon, Canadian, Irish, and Scotch.
Yeah.
And these are your recommendations, so if you have a problem with them, you can leave a comment to yourself in our comment section. But hey, we're just saying what you told us to say.
I don't think we can do a part 2. Well, maybe we can. I don't know. Anyways.
Other stuff you told us to say. Anyway, we're Trini and C. Oh, we also have shirts.
Oh, cool shirts. And we also have coasters that you can get on our Patreon account for $5 a month. Cool.
Thanks for watching. Cheers.
Trini and C.